All right. Christian, 27K from April to May. Dude, that is insane.
Yeah,
Really,
but
really solid numbers, man. Like that's just yeah, it's really, really, really impressive. Good job, man.
yeah, thank you. Just doing it day by day, I think. Yeah,
Mate, you've been killing it. I think that you've just been absolutely applying like all the learnings and all the teachings that we've been providing to you. You've just been taking on board, and like, dude, you're unstoppable at the moment. You really are on a roll. So yeah, I mean, look, I really just wanted to get like a deeper understanding into that. Like what was, you know, let's just rewind a little bit and
yeah.
look at your situation before joining Elevate Network. What kind of challenges were you facing? What kind of goals did you have, prior to joining Elevate Network, and how has that changed while you've you know been a part of the program?
Yeah, I've been working since I was 15, doing casual work. Got into full time recently after I, graduated uni, into the corporate world. Yeah, and I guess it just kind of got me into thinking more and more about starting my own company rather than working for other people, and I guess relying on them to some extent for like job security and stuff, rather than if I could just like do it myself and yeah, be my own boss and stuff. So yeah, that's when I kind of started trying to get into researching about different business opportunities for myself. So yeah, I was kind of just delving into online work, um, and yeah, I think I came across Elevate Network from researching about FBA specifically. The problem that I faced before joining Elevate Network was, I guess, knowing how to properly set up the business. Like, I always had the work ethic. Since I joined Elevate Network, I was still doing the 9 to 5, and then when I got home, I was just getting back onto Elevate and doing all the work up until like 10 p.m. and stuff. So I've always had the work ethic. It was more so just researching how to properly set up a business,
Mm.
especially when you're doing it from Australia, trying to break into the US market. For a couple of months, I was trying to learn how to do that, but all the people that I was asking about the FBA and Amazon businesses were all from America themselves. So they already kind of had US banks set up in their name and, tax file, I mean, tax file numbers for us, but for them, social security numbers. So yeah, I found a much more beneficial joining Elevate specifically rather than all those other people that might be doing it. Since we're actually from Australia breaking into that market specifically, the US market.
Yeah.
That was one of the challenges that I think we overcame.
How do you feel like your integration has been, working from Australia, working remote on a
Mm.
business that is primarily based in the US? Like, how have you found that integration? Has it been seamless for you, or like have you sort of experienced any kind of challenges from that? Like, overall, how has that been for you?
Yeah, I mean, when you're dealing with people from just different parts of the world, not necessarily just US, but where when you're having to, I guess, go into emails and calls, it's a little bit of back and forth sometimes. So, the communication can sometimes feel a little bit tedious. Uh, and, obviously, since there's a time zone barrier, that can, I guess, have a little bit more, it can get a little bit more time consuming since they're replying while you're maybe asleep and then you're, replying to their email once they're asleep and all that. But, you know, the, there's not a lot of negatives. It's more so just like those little tedious things. Other
Mm.
than that, you know, when I had Elevate Network that was kind of just going through the process step by step and telling me what is the best things to do to set up the business, bit by bit. It really just helped me not, I guess, have everything on me at once. It was just like, all right, you do this first, then this, X, Y, Z, and keep going. And yeah, so in that sense, it was seamless.
Yeah,
Definitely.
awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, it's great to hear that you had, that you experienced those challenges, but you were able to overcome them, right, with the mentorship, through the program, working with other members as well,
Yeah.
getting over those like minor hiccups and that kind of thing. And I think that's what's so important about being a part of a community, such as, what we're building at the moment, is that you're all working together, in unison towards one goal, right? And that's towards, achieving financial freedom through a remote business that can be literally operated from anywhere. And, your earning potential is literally the sky, right? Like it's, the sky is literally the limit, with Amazon. So, and I think like, going back on like what your expectations were when you first joined the program, like obviously you told me that, you joined through, you saw us through the YouTube channel. You were searching for ways to, create income, through FBA. You found us on YouTube. What kind of expectations did you have, when you first, joined the program?
I mean, when I guess, first joined the program, my expectations, my goals were always to, like, I want to work from wherever I want, on the laptop or whatever I care to do. But I definitely thought it would be a lot more, like it would take a lot more time to get to the stage where I am right now. So, as we were saying, like in the last 2 months, 27K overall, where we've just passed 50K overall
Awesome.
in the last 6 months or so.
Do you mind if we get like if you could pull it up on your phone just for like some sort of proof for the viewers, perhaps?
Sure. I can show properly.
There we go.
Like,
You can see that, yeah.
can you?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
No,
So, damn,
that's
look at that. Look at that trajectory, man. That is nuts.
yeah.
You're on the up big time.
That's
So
like
that's
40 in
yeah,
America.
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's insane. And I guess like that's a pretty big milestone, right? Like, being close to that kind of like 50K mark.
Yeah.
What kind of approaches, mindsets, maybe even like support systems as well? Like I know you talked briefly about how you've always been a very savvy person, with money and you've always been a diligent worker. How has Elevate Network kind of supported you in that, and provided you with like the resources in order to pursue this online business?
The fact that a lot of us are international helps a lot. Even if you were situated in the US specifically, it's still very beneficial just to be a part of the program, since it doesn't just go over how to set up a business in general, whether you are in the US or international. It kind of like caters towards both. But then it also just goes about, the normal things that you would need to know from an FBA standpoint, such as, the product researching aspect, even things like outsourcing some of your workload off to, different people. So it teaches leadership as well. And yeah, I've just learnt a lot, not even just about the FBA aspect, but just like, as cheesy as it sounds, you actually learn a lot about yourself, what you're capable of. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something that's taught me. Like, I never really thought that I would be able to produce numbers that I have produced in such a little amount of time. And it's kind of, I guess, unlocked that thought of even more potential where, why stop here? Within the next months, people can be making 100K easy. Or when I was doing a 9 to 5 and I wasn't really in my own business, I probably wouldn't have thought many things like that.
Yeah, I think like, I think having an open mindset like yourself really does open yourself up to huge possibilities, with and opportunities as well, with running your own business. So
Yeah.
it's awesome that you touch on that. I think I really do appreciate that. And I think, going back to, what you were saying with like outsourcing and, hiring, um, virtual assistants as well, in order to help you to scale your business. When we were kind of experiencing some bottlenecks, when you were sort of around like that 10K mark per month, and you had some sort of bottlenecks where you were doing a lot of the work yourself, and then we actually were able to work together and really collaborate and be able to hire some VAs out, which really took a lot of, I think, I mean, you tell me, but I feel like it took a lot of stress off your shoulders.
Yeah, definitely.
You're able to delegate a lot of those tasks out to professionals
Mm.
remotely, and you're basically able to expand your team and expand the your profit margins, man, and your overall gross. I think your gross sales probably increased drastically as a result of that change that we implemented for you.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who is considering joining Elevate Network, but is kind of just like sitting on the fence at the moment and then just not too sure? What would you say to someone like that?
The value for money is it definitely is exceeded all my expectations. Uh, I feel like sometimes I've just been like bugging you half the time because I'd be texting you at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., especially when I was working my other job and I was just like doing this at 1 a.m. Whenever I've reached out to Jesse or other people within the program, I'll probably have to wait maybe 5 minutes before I'll get a response back, even if it's early hours of the morning. So I think
We're always online.
yeah, it's crazy, and yeah, I think that's definitely a really good aspect, that the fact that we're all in it together and we're all very, there's a good camaraderie within the program. We all want to see each other succeed to some extent. Like for me personally, if I see someone hit really good numbers and I'm thinking, yeah, all right, good on them. I'm going to have to step up my game a little bit, and it's a healthy competition as well, definitely. Yeah, there's just so many benefits, and we're all pushing each other to, just do the absolute best that we can.
Awesome, man. That's a glowing review, and I really do appreciate that. But thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate you hopping on and telling us about some of your successes and how you've gone so far, and how you've been killing it with the Amazon business, bro. But like, you've done 50K so far. I feel like 100K is, like you said, I feel like it's just not that far off at all.
Yeah,
And we're going to keep working together. We're going to keep pushing and keep pushing for success. So onwards and upwards, man.
hell yeah.